Most traders genuinely believe they have a trading system. They can explain their entries, point to a favorite indicator, and describe a setup they recognize on the chart. In their minds, this feels complete. But here is the uncomfortable truth. What most traders call a system is nothing more than a strategy. And a strategy without structure is like an airplane engine without wings. It has power, but it has no way to fly. Eventually, it will drive you straight into the ground. Over the years, I have observed traders across every level of experience. I have watched highly intelligent analysts into the ground. Over the years, I have observed traders across every level of experience. I have watched highly intelligent analysts with deep market knowledge lose everything. I have also watched average thinkers, people without exceptional analytical skills, quietly build long-term wealth. The difference was never intelligence, and it was rarely strategy. The difference was structure. The traders who survived did not trade better strategies. They traded complete systems. A strategy is essential, but it is only a single component. It tells you when to enter a trade. That is all. A system, on the other hand, is the entire operating framework. It governs how you interact with the market, how much you risk, how you exit, what you do when you are wrong, and most importantly, how you protect yourself when your discipline inevitably fails. And it will fail, because you are human. When most people begin trading, they are taught to hunt for setups. They learn patterns, indicators, and entry signals. They backtest ideas and experience small wins. At that point, confidence grows quickly. The trader believes they have discovered their edge. This is the moment where many think the hard work is done. Then real money enters the equation. The same strategy that worked during backtesting suddenly stops performing, not because the strategy is flawed, but because the trader cannot execute it properly. Hesitation creeps in. Stops are moved. Winners are cut short. Losers are held longer than planned. Eventually, frustration sets in, and the trader begins asking the wrong question: what is wrong with me? The answer is not personal failure. The answer is structural failure. You do not have a system. You only have a strategy. And a strategy alone cannot protect you from yourself. A system exists to remove unnecessary discretion. It minimizes your margin for error and maximizes the probability of correct execution. It assumes you will have bad days. It assumes you will feel fear, greed, fatigue, and frustration. If your approach only works when you are calm, focused, and disciplined, then it is not a system. It is a wish. A complete trading system begins with market structure and clarity. Before you ask when to enter, you must answer a more important question. What kind of market are you trading? Is it trending, ranging, expanding, or contracting? Different market conditions require different tools. Applying the wrong strategy to the wrong environment is one of the most common reasons traders fail. You would not use a hammer to cut wood or a saw to drive nails, yet traders make this mistake daily. They apply trend-following strategies in sideways markets and range strategies during breakouts. When the results disappoint, they blame the strategy instead of the context. The first responsibility of your system is to define the environment. If you cannot clearly identify whether the market is moving up, down, or sideways, you should not be trading. Clarity is the foundation of every profitable decision. Without it, every choice that follows is built on uncertainty. For years, I struggled to achieve consistency. Even when I followed my rules perfectly, profits were minimal. Everything changed when I forced myself to answer one question before every trade. What direction is the higher time frame pointing? If I could not answer that question with confidence, I did nothing. The results were undeniable. My win rate increased from roughly 50% to over 60% simply by aligning my trades with the dominant market direction. Most of my losing trades were not bad setups. They were counter-trend trades taken against higher time frame structure. You can execute perfectly and still lose if you are swimming against the current. Once market context is defined, the system must address risk and exits. This is where most traders destroy themselves. They know how to enter, but they have no plan for what happens afterward. Risk is undefined. Exits are emotional. Decisions are made in the heat of the moment. A complete system defines risk before the trade is placed, not during, not after, before. Risk must be fixed and consistent. 1 unit of risk, 1 R, that does not change based on confidence, setup quality, or recent performance. The moment you adjust risk based on how you feel, you are no longer trading a system. You are gambling with bias. Many traders romanticize intuition, referencing legendary figures who trade based on instinct. What they forget is that intuition is earned through decades of experience and emotional neutrality. Until you have proven long-term profitability, discretion will do more harm than good. Your need for money will manipulate your intuition long before it guides you correctly. Your exit does not need to be perfect. It needs to be clear. Optimization is the enemy of execution. Traders obsess over catching the entire move, exiting at the exact top, or maximizing reward. In reality, unclear exits lead to hesitation, second-guessing, and emotional exhaustion. A predefined exit protects you psychologically. It preserves mental energy. When everything is clear, there is nothing to debate. You follow the plan, accept the result, and move on. Missing part of a move is insignificant compared to the damage caused by emotional decision-making. This is where most systems stop, but this is also where real systems begin. A complete trading system must include a biological safety net. It must be designed not for your best version, but for your worst one, the tired version, the frustrated version, the version that just took multiple losses and wants revenge. That version will break rules unless the system prevents it. Hard limits must exist, not suggestions, rules. For example, after 2 losing trades, trading stops for the day. No exceptions, no negotiations. This protects both capital and psychology. Limiting trade frequency often has a greater impact on profitability than improving entries. Less trading leads to better decisions. Cognitive energy is finite. Most losing days are destroyed by the final trades taken when mental fatigue sets in. A system that enforces limits prevents this slow erosion. This is the difference between hoping to be disciplined and engineering discipline. One of the most overlooked realities in trading is that your biggest enemy is not the market. It is not volatility, news, algorithms, or institutions. Your biggest enemy is internal. It is your emotional state, your fatigue, your need to be right, and your desire to recover losses quickly. Most traders design their approach as if these weaknesses do not exist. A complete system does the opposite. It assumes weakness and plans for it. This is where the majority of trading systems quietly fail. They are built for an ideal version of the trader, the disciplined, focused, calm version. But that version shows up far less often than people think. Most of the time, traders are operating under pressure. They are tired from daily responsibilities, emotionally influenced by recent results, or distracted by external stress. If your system only works when everything is perfect, it will not survive real conditions. A real system anticipates human error and actively limits the damage it can cause. One of the most effective ways to do this is by enforcing strict limits on trading activity. Many traders believe that more trades equal more opportunities. In reality, more trades usually mean more mistakes. Every trade consumes mental energy. Every decision drains cognitive resources. By the time most traders take their 5th or 6th trade of the day, their ability to think rationally is already compromised. This is why professional traders place limits not only on risk, but also on frequency. A daily trade limit, whether 2 trades or 3, forces selectivity. It removes the temptation to overtrade and prevents emotional spirals. Whether those trades result in wins or losses does not matter. Once the limit is reached, trading stops. The day is over. This may sound restrictive, but it is incredibly liberating. Knowing the maximum possible loss for the day creates psychological safety. If you risk 1% per trade and allow only 2 trades, the worst possible outcome is a 2% loss. That is a controlled, survivable outcome. It will not destroy confidence. It will not force reckless behavior the next day. It allows you to return to the market with clarity instead of desperation. Most traders underestimate how damaging desperation can be. After a string of losses, the mind searches for relief. It wants to recover quickly. This is when revenge trading begins. Rules start to bend. Justifications appear. This setup is almost perfect. I just need one good trade. I know the next one will work. A system that allows these thoughts to turn into action is not a system. It is an invitation to self-sabotage. This brings us to another critical element, position sizing. Risk must be capped at a level that is both financially and psychologically tolerable. Too little risk leads to boredom and carelessness. Too much risk leads to fear and emotional paralysis. The correct position size is one that allows you to execute without emotional interference. Once this level is defined, it must remain constant. Confidence, recent wins, or strong-looking setups do not justify increasing risk. A system does not respond to emotion. It enforces consistency. This consistency is what produces long-term results. Another hidden threat traders rarely acknowledge is decision fatigue. The human brain is not designed to make high-quality decisions indefinitely. Each choice consumes mental energy. The more decisions you make, the worse your judgment becomes. This is not a personality flaw. It is biology. Trading environments that require constant decision-making, when to enter, when to exit, whether to move stops, whether to hold or close, are unsustainable. Over time, willpower collapses. Discipline erodes. Traders begin rationalizing poor behavior simply because their cognitive resources are depleted. A complete system eliminates unnecessary decisions. Analysis happens before the trading session. During execution, everything should be binary. Either the criteria are met or they are not. There is no almost. There is no this feels right. The setup either qualifies or it does not. This mechanical approach does not remove intelligence or creativity from trading. It simply assigns them to the correct phase. Creativity belongs in preparation, not execution. Once the trading session begins, the trader becomes an operator, not an analyst. The rules are followed without debate. This is how professionals protect themselves from emotional interference. They are not more disciplined than amateurs. They simply design systems that require less discipline. They remove points of discretion. They automate responses. They convert trading into a checklist. When the checklist is complete, action is taken. When it is not, nothing happens. This structure is especially important during periods of stress. Tight financial conditions, recent losses, or external pressure can severely distort perception. A trader who needs money urgently will see opportunities that do not exist. They will feel compelled to act. A mechanical system prevents this by enforcing objectivity. Even on the worst days, the system produces the same output because the rules do not change. The trader's emotional state becomes irrelevant. This is not about removing humanity from trading. It is about protecting capital when humanity interferes. Another crucial component is acknowledging that losses are inevitable. A system does not aim to eliminate losses. It aims to control them by defining maximum daily loss, maximum trade count, and fixed risk per trap. DE losses become predictable and manageable. Predictability is powerful. When you know the worst-case scenario in advance, fear loses its grip. You are no longer reacting emotionally to outcomes. You are executing probabilities. This brings us to an important mindset shift. Trading is not about being right. It is about following a process that produces positive expectancy over time. Individual trades are irrelevant. What matters is consistent execution across a large sample size. Most traders fail because they treat each trade as a referendum on their intelligence. Wins inflate the ego, losses attack identity. A system removes this emotional roller coaster by reframing trading as a series of standardized actions with predefined outcomes. The moment you accept this, pressure decreases dramatically. You stop fighting the market. You stop fighting yourself. You focus on execution, not validation. This is where many traders begin to see real improvement, not because their strategy changed, but because their behavior did. The system became stronger than their impulses. In the next part, we will address the final pillar that separates real systems from vague ideas: documentation, accountability, and commitment. Because a system that exists only in your head is not a system at all. There is a simple test to determine whether you truly have a trading system or just a loose collection of ideas. Ask yourself this question: can you write your entire system down and hand it to another trader, and would they be able to execute it exactly as you would? If the answer is no, then you do not yet have a system. A real system is explicit. It leaves no room for interpretation. Every rule is defined. Every condition is documented. Entry criteria are written clearly. Risk is quantified numerically. Exit rules are specified in advance. There are rules for winning days, rules for losing days, rules for when to trade, and rules for when to stop. Nothing is assumed. Nothing is left to memory. If it is not written, it does not exist. Human memory is unreliable, especially under stress. Emotions have a way of rewriting rules in real time. Traders convince themselves that they planned something they never did. They remember rules selectively, usually in ways that justify the action they already want to take. Writing the system removes this flexibility. It creates accountability. A written system acts as an external authority. It stands outside your emotional state. It does not care how confident you feel, how frustrated you are, or how badly you want to make money today. It simply defines what is allowed and what is not. When traders first write their systems down, they often discover gaps. Questions arise. What happens after 2 losses? What happens after a big win? What if the market is unclear? What if volatility changes? These questions are not problems, they are signals. They show where the system is incomplete. Each unanswered question represents a vulnerability. The goal is to eliminate ambiguity entirely. You keep refining the system until there are no questions left to ask during execution. When that happens, you reach a new level of clarity. Trading stops being reactive. It becomes procedural. This process takes time. It is not glamorous. It does not feel exciting. But it is the foundation of long-term survival. Another step that most traders skip, but should not, is commitment. Writing rules is not enough. Many traders have rule sets they ignore whenever emotions rise. This is why commitment must be formalized. After writing your system, print it. Sign it. Treat it like a contract, because that is exactly what it is, a contract between you and the market. By signing it, you are making a conscious agreement to follow these rules, even when doing so feels uncomfortable. Especially when it feels uncomfortable. The signature matters more than people realize. It introduces friction. When you are tempted to break a rule, you are forced to confront that agreement. You must acknowledge that you are violating your own standards. That moment of awareness is often enough to stop impulsive behavior. This does not mean you will never break a rule again. You are human. Mistakes will happen. But the system reduces their frequency and limits their impact. Over time, rule following becomes habitual rather than forced. Many traders underestimate how transformative this shift can be. Trading stops being a daily psychological battle. You are no longer relying on willpower. The system does the heavy lifting. You simply follow instructions. This is why experienced traders often appear calm and detached. They are not emotionally stronger. They are structurally protected. It is important to understand that profitability is rarely immediate. Trading is a process of personal development as much as it is a financial pursuit. It exposes weaknesses. It forces discipline. It puts you in uncomfortable situations repeatedly. This is not punishment. It is refinement. Some traders become profitable in a year. Others take 5. Timing is individual. Struggling does not mean you are incapable. It means you are still building the structure required to handle consistency. Every loss, every mistake, every frustrating period contains information you need. What matters is direction. If you are moving toward more structure, more clarity, and more mechanical execution, you are on the right path. If you continue searching for better indicators, better setups, or the perfect strategy, you are delaying the inevitable realization. The market does not reward intelligence. It rewards consistency. This leads to a critical distinction that most traders never fully grasp. You are not trading the market. You are trading your system. The market simply provides opportunities. Your system decides which ones to take. If your system is incomplete, relies on discretion, or depends on your best emotional state showing up every day, it will fail. Not maybe. It will fail. Humans are inconsistent. Systems are not. This is why the focus must shift away from strategies and toward structure. Stop searching for the Holy Grail setup. Stop adding indicators. Stop believing that one more piece of information will solve everything. Instead, define the market conditions you will trade. Define your fixed risk. Define your exits in advance. Build hard limits to protect yourself from your worst impulses. Eliminate decisions during execution. Write everything down. Commit to it. This approach may not feel exciting. It may even feel restrictive. But restriction is freedom in trading. Freedom from emotional chaos, freedom from overtrading, freedom from self-sabotage. When everything is mechanical, pressure decreases. Needing money cannot force you to see setups that are not there. Fear cannot push you into early exits. Greed cannot convince you to overextend risk. The system enforces behavior regardless of your internal state. There is only one area where discretion remains acceptable: identifying the overall market direction. Determining whether the environment favors long or short positions requires interpretation. That is where your experience and judgment belong. Everything else should be mechanical. This balance allows growth. Over time, as experience accumulates, discretion may expand, but structure must always remain the foundation. A complete trading system is not about being right. It is not about predicting the market. It is about creating an environment where correct execution is possible day after day, where outcomes are the result of probabilities, not emotions, where consistency replaces hope. Most traders fail because they fight the market. In reality, the market is not the enemy. The lack of structure is. Build the system. Respect it. Commit to it. Let it protect you when you are tired, emotional, or uncertain. That is how traders survive long term, and survival is the first requirement for success.